Hi, I'm Libby from NJACP on day one of the conference, and we just heard from Sean Luechtefeld, from the VP of Membership and Communications at Anchor, which is, I would say, NJACP on the national level. We have a tremendous partnership. We're proud to be members of Anchor. And so much of what you said, Sean, is what I'm trying to do in my short tenure here at NJACP.
Yeah.
Can you talk about why it's so important to share stories and how critically important that is for advocacy?
Yeah, I feel like this is the thing that I could say every single day of my life, and I would not be done evangelizing, because I think people underestimate how important it is for folks to know from real people's real experiences what a system or a service is like. I think we very much know, if we work in this field, what services are and why they matter and why it's critical that we invest in them. But the average person doesn't know that, because the average person has their own expertise in something else. And, unless you are related to somebody or good friends with somebody who has an intellectual or developmental disability, you may not really have any kind of interaction with the system. And so being willing to tell your story and do that in plain English and make it so that it can resonate with people who come from different backgrounds, I think is always going to be so critical if we are to really make the case for why we should be expanding our investment in the services that we deliver.
100%. There's so many challenges, obviously, that families face. And I mean, we get calls. We get calls in our office from families looking for service, and they have no idea where to go.
Yeah, we have that same situation.
And I can't imagine what it is to navigate that system, you know, as a parent or a sibling for their loved one. And I sort of always think about that, what it is to be in that place and how important it is for those voices to be heard. Because you're absolutely right. Unless you have a connection, it's not often then, and what's concerning is then there's policymakers that are making decisions that they may not fully understand the system. They may not understand what it is to navigate the system. They don't understand the how critically important it is to invest in wages and continue to invest in the community-based system of care that is more cost effective and obviously much more quality of life than an institution. And I think the points that you brought up with the members just now were incredibly helpful and important.
Yeah, I appreciate that feedback. And I think, we can often begrudge the fact that lawmakers and their staff don't necessarily have a lot of expertise in the specifics of our issues, right? But how could they, right? There is no way that a lawmaker, at the state level or at the federal level could really deeply understand everything there is to know about every single issue under the sun. And so we can be frustrated by that, or we can recognize that it's an opportunity to educate, because even if they don't have that expertise in our system and in our services, they need to know. Yeah. And so just being able to kind of break it down for them, and, especially when you consider we don't often have a context for what a direct support professional does or what an IDD service might be, because most of us don't rely on those services. But we could at any point need access to that level of care. We might need to support a loved one to navigate those choices and that system. And so it's incumbent upon us to just recognize that it's not just about should they or shouldn't they know, but even if we agree that they should know, someone's got to teach them.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we can do.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I so appreciate you bringing that message here to this conference, because it's so important and it's something that we need to be doing in a bigger way. So thank you so much, Sean, for sharing your expertise and your guidance and that important message to our members here in New Jersey.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation to be here. I've so enjoyed, you all are doing amazing work here in New Jersey, and it's going to take all of us telling our stories. So the pleasure has been mine.
Thank you.
Thanks.